After months of relentless searching and uncertainty, authorities may have finally found Travis Decker, the man at the center of one of the most harrowing manhunts in recent memory. The news comes as a shock to many who have followed the case from the very beginning, hoping for answers and perhaps some measure of closure. For law enforcement, this moment marks the culmination of countless hours spent combing through evidence, following up on leads, and braving the elements in the hope of bringing a fugitive to justice. The search for Decker has tested the limits of local and federal agencies, pushing them to deploy every available resource and technology in their pursuit. From helicopters scanning the treetops to K-9 units tracking faint scents through the underbrush, the operation has been exhaustive and at times emotionally draining for everyone involved. The possibility that this chapter may finally be drawing to a close is both a relief and a somber reminder of the tragedy at the heart of the story. This is a story that's left a community grieving and searching for answers. The pain and confusion have rippled through every corner of the small towns and neighborhoods touched by the tragedy. Residents have come together in vigils and support groups, trying to make sense of the unthinkable and to comfort one another in the face of overwhelming loss. The emotional toll has been immense, with many still struggling to process the events that have unfolded over the past several months. For some, the uncertainty has been the hardest part, never knowing if Decker was still out there or if justice would ever be served. The community's resilience has been tested, but neighbors have leaned on each other, finding strength in shared sorrow and collective hope for healing. Travis Decker became the focus of a national manhunt after police accused him of killing his 3 young daughters and fleeing into the dense forests of Washington state. The case quickly captured national attention, not only because of the shocking nature of the crime, but also due to the sheer scale of the search effort that followed. Decker, a former local resident with a troubled past, seemed to vanish without a trace, leaving behind a devastated family and a community desperate for answers. The forests of Washington, vast and unforgiving, became both a hiding place and a symbol of the darkness that had descended on the region. The manhunt itself became a story of its own, with search teams navigating rugged terrain, unpredictable weather, and the ever-present sense of urgency. The public watched as each new lead was reported, each false alarm dissected, and each day without resolution weighed heavily on the hearts of those affected. The search gripped the nation, stretching across small towns and remote wilderness, with communities following every update and hoping for closure. Volunteers from neighboring counties joined law enforcement, forming search parties that braved treacherous terrain and unpredictable weather. News vans lined the streets, and families gathered around their televisions each night, anxiously awaiting any new developments. The sense of unity was palpable, as people from all walks of life came together in the hope of finding answers and supporting the victims' loved ones. Local businesses donated food and supplies to searchers, and schools organized fundraisers to support the families affected. The collective effort was a testament to the power of community in the face of tragedy, and a reminder that even in the darkest times, people can come together to help one another. Earlier this week, investigators reported finding human remains in a secluded, wooded area. The discovery was made after a tip led authorities to a remote section of forest that had previously been deemed too difficult to search thoroughly. The area, thick with underbrush and towering trees, presented significant challenges for the search teams, but their persistence paid off. The remains were found partially concealed, raising immediate questions about how long they had been there, and whether they could finally provide the answers everyone had been seeking. The painstaking work of the search teams, often overlooked, was crucial in making this discovery. They navigated dangerous terrain, sometimes working late into the night, driven by the hope that their efforts would bring closure to a grieving community. The moment the remains were found, a wave of emotion swept through the team: relief, sadness, and the heavy weight of what this discovery might mean. While official confirmation is still pending, authorities believe these may be the remains of Decker. The announcement was made during a press conference, where officials emphasized the need for patience as forensic teams work to establish a positive identification. The news has brought a mix of emotions: relief that the search may be over, but also renewed grief as the community is forced to confront the reality of what has happened. Law enforcement officials have been careful in their statements, acknowledging the pain this news brings while also stressing the importance of accuracy and thoroughness in the identification process. For many, the press conference was a moment of reckoning, as the possibility of closure finally seemed within reach, even as it reopened wounds that had barely begun to heal. Forensic teams are now working to verify the identity through DNA analysis. This process, while routine in modern investigations, can take days or even weeks, depending on the condition of the remains and the availability of comparative samples. Experts are meticulously collecting evidence, running tests, and double-checking results to ensure that there is no doubt about the identity. The outcome of this analysis will be crucial, not only for the investigation but also for the families and community members who have been waiting for answers. The science behind DNA identification is complex, involving multiple steps and layers of verification. Each sample is carefully cataloged, compared against known profiles, and subjected to rigorous quality control. The forensic team understands the gravity of their task, knowing that their findings will shape the next chapter of this story and determine how the community moves forward. The discovery has sent shockwaves through the local community and beyond. For many, the news has reopened old wounds, bringing back memories of the initial tragedy and the months of uncertainty that followed. Community leaders have urged residents to support one another, offering counseling services and organizing gatherings where people can share their feelings and begin to heal. The story has also resonated with people across the country, many of whom have reached out with messages of sympathy and solidarity. In the days since the announcement, local organizations have reported an increase in calls for support, as individuals and families seek help in processing their emotions. The ripple effects of this tragedy extend far beyond the immediate community, touching the lives of people who may never have met the victims but feel connected through shared humanity and compassion. Social media feeds are filled with messages of grief for the young victims and relief that the search could finally be over. Hashtags related to the case have trended nationwide as people share their thoughts, prayers, and memories. Some posts express anger and frustration at the senselessness of the crime, while others focus on the resilience of the community and the importance of coming together in times of crisis. The digital outpouring of support has provided comfort to many, even as the pain of loss remains fresh. Online forums and support groups have become spaces for people to share their stories, offer condolences, and discuss ways to prevent similar tragedies in the future. The internet, for all its flaws, has served as a bridge, connecting people across distances and allowing them to grieve together, even if only virtually. Candlelight vigils have been held as families and neighbors mourn an unimaginable loss. At these gatherings, people have shared stories, sung songs, and lit candles in memory of the 3 young girls whose lives were cut tragically short. The vigils have become a space for collective mourning, but also for hope, a reminder that even in the darkest times a community can find strength in unity and compassion. Flowers, cards, and stuffed animals have been left at makeshift memorials, each one a testament to the love and sorrow felt by so many. These moments of remembrance are deeply personal, yet they also serve as a public declaration that the victims will not be forgotten. The community's response has been one of overwhelming kindness, with neighbors supporting one another and strangers reaching out to offer words of comfort. As investigators await test results, questions remain about what led to this tragedy. What drove Travis Decker to commit such an unthinkable act? Were there warning signs that were missed, or opportunities for intervention that slipped by? Detectives continue to piece together the events leading up to the crime, interviewing friends, family members, and anyone who might shed light on Decker's state of mind. The empty playgrounds and quiet streets serve as a stark reminder of the lives forever changed by this case. Experts in criminal psychology have weighed in, offering theories about Decker's possible motives and the warning signs that might have been overlooked. The investigation is as much about understanding the why as it is about documenting the how, with the hope that lessons learned here might help prevent future tragedies. Officials say, once confirmed, the case will move toward legal closure, but the pain and questions for the community will linger. Legal experts note that while the discovery of Decker's remains may bring an end to the criminal investigation, it does not erase the trauma experienced by the victims' families or the broader community. Support services remain available, and local leaders have pledged to continue working toward healing and prevention, hoping that lessons learned from this tragedy can help protect others in the future. The legal process, even in cases where the suspect is no longer alive, involves careful documentation and review to ensure that every aspect of the case is understood. Community forums and town hall meetings have been scheduled to address lingering concerns, provide updates, and offer resources for those still struggling to cope. Stay with us for updates as this story develops. Our team will continue to follow every new development, bringing you the latest information as it becomes available. We remain committed to telling the stories that matter, giving a voice to those affected, and seeking the truth behind the headlines. As the investigation moves forward, we will continue to highlight the experiences of the families, the dedication of law enforcement, and the resilience of the community. Our coverage will not only focus on the facts but also on the human stories that make this case so impactful. We invite you to share your thoughts, memories, and questions as we work together to understand and heal. Subscribe for more coverage on true crime and ongoing investigations. We'll keep you informed as authorities work to confirm the identity of the remains and as the community begins the long process of healing. Thank you for joining us as we continue to seek answers and honor the memories of those lost. Your support helps us shine a light on stories that matter, and together we can ensure that the lessons of this tragedy are not forgotten. As we await further updates, let us remember the importance of compassion, vigilance, and community in the face of adversity.